Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. Welcome to St Mary's Stadium where it's finished here. Southampton 1, Arsenal 2. The Premier League season is officially over and Arsenal have ended it with a win thanks to Martin Odegaard's late goal here. What a lovely goal. It was from the captain who was one of the host of second half substitutions. I'm just slightly distracted down there, but David Raya has just come out on the pitch with his Golden Glove trophy, having some photos taken, which I'm sure you're going to be seeing all over social media very soon. Did concede a goal, of course. There was no clean sheet, but because Matt Sells conceded a goal as well for Nottingham Forest, as they lost to Chelsea, it means both of them will share the Golden Glove this season. So yeah, it's finished here. 2-1 Arsenal, and the Premier League season has finished. And I think we can all be pretty relieved. Is that the right word? How we're probably going to feel that the season's done and dusted now. We could all have a bit of a rest and a break as I look at Liverpool lifting the Premier League trophy on the screen that is just to the left here in the Premier League and in the press box at St Mary's. I think we all need a break, don't we? I've said it for the last week or so building up to this game. Just wanted to get it out of the way so we can all head off on our summer holidays or whatever it is and come back refreshed for next season. I think Arsenal players will certainly be wanting to do that. But they did end with a win, and you did want to go out with a win. I mean, Arsenal are used to winning now on the final day of the season. I think you've got to go back to about 2008 to find the last time Arsenal didn't end the Premier League season with a win. So they've continued on with that record here. It looked like they weren't going to after they were pegged back in the second half, obviously leading through Kieran Tierney's early goal, first half goal anyway, which was a lovely moment. I'll get to that in a minute. But then Southampton did peg them back with a goal. Another goal conceded from a set piece for Arsenal in the second half from the corner. Looked like that was going to be enough to earn Southampton draw a point and condemn Arsenal to their 15th Premier League draw of the season. But as I said, Martin Odegaard, one of a number of players who came off the bench in the second half, big first-team players who came off the bench in the second half for Arsenal, and he was the guy who scored the winner. Lovely goal as well. Classic Martin Odegaard, working it onto his left foot, 25 yards out, drilling it past Aaron Ramsdale, who had made a couple of good saves to frustrate his former team throughout the game, really, and that was enough to give Arsenal a win. There was no comeback there from Southampton, and it was a deserved win, no doubt about it. They were far the better team. It was a mismatch of a side from Mikel Arteta. My predicted 11 couldn't have been more wrong. I think this was the most wrong I've ever been with a predicted 11 this season, but I don't think anyone could have predicted that starting 11 from Mikel Arteta today. It was all over the place, really. Raheem Sterling came in, Ethan Nwaneri came in, Zinchenko came in, Kieran Tierney came in. It was a mad team selection. A lot by injuries. There's no Calafiori, of course. We're all looking forward to Calafiori and Kivior continuing on from what we saw against Newcastle. But Calafiori, again, by the sounds of it, has picked up an injury. We'll hear what Mikel Arteta's got to say in his press conference in a minute in regards to Calafiori, but that wasn't great. So he thought at the time that was going to mean Ben White playing at right back, Ben White playing at centre back, Thomas Partey was going to play at right back, Tierney at left back. But when this game started, it became very apparent that Kieran Tierney was playing at centre back with Kivior, and Zinchenko was at left back. Ben White was staying out on the right. And Arsenal were the better team in the first half, no doubt about it. All of their dangerous moments really came from the left-hand side for the majority of that half. Zinchenko putting some good balls in, Martinelli was, Tierney was. Norino hit the bar with one header. He had another one that went just over with a header. Martinelli had a header from Tierney's cross. It was straight at Aaron Ramsdale. It looked if they were going to score, that it was definitely going to come from the left-hand side. But when the goal did arrive, it was actually from the right-hand side. Ben White getting on one of those overlapping runs. But Ben White started the game really rusty. He was really poor in possession, a couple of sloppy passes, but he grew into it, I thought, as the game went on, and he did really well for the goal. Combining, I can't remember who it was who slipped it in down the right-hand side. It might have been Martinelli, I can't remember. But Ben White got on the overlap, got in, lovely little dink ball, and a brilliant finish from Kieran Tierney with his right foot on the volley. And the look on his face when he scored that goal, you could see what it meant to him. He absolutely loved it. It was a lovely moment to sort of end the season. The away fans, who were brilliant all game, by the way, the Arsenal away fans, if you were here today, you were one of that, you're in that away section, hats off to you, because he just did not stop from start to finish. It was really, really good for the away fans, and they really serenaded Kieran Tierney after that goal. So that was great. And 1-0 at half-time, you thought Arsenal were going to go on and comfortably win. To be fair, I mean, Southampton, as we saw against Man City in I think it might have been their last home game here, when they got that 0-0 draw against Manchester City, they just sat everyone in their own half and tried to protect the goal, Aaron Ramsdale. It worked against Man City. But when Arsenal got that goal, you kind of thought, that they're going to have to come out a little bit in the second half. But because they scored so early in the second half, and it was from a set piece. It wasn't like they did it in open play. It was from a set piece. It was a corner. It was a good header from Ross Stewart, but again, it was another set piece goal conceded from Arsenal. But because they got that so early, it wasn't a case of them then opening up after that, because they'd got themselves level so early in the second half. It was a case, right, let's go back to what we did in the first half and sit deep and try and protect the goal. Arsenal threw on Saka, they threw on Odegaard, they threw on Trossard, Miles Lewis-Skelly came on, Kai Havertz came on. So, Mikel Arteta was sitting in the stands next to Josh Kroenke, just to my right-hand side, actually. Stuyvenberg was obviously down on the pitch because of Arteta's touchline ban. But they certainly, they went for the win by those substitutions. You could see that. I mean, Thomas Partey was playing a centre-back at one point. All the attackers were on trying to get the goal, and they went close. Declan Rice had one shot that was really well saved from Aaron Ramsdale. Bukayo Saka headed in the rebound, but the goal was ruled out for offside correctly. He was offside. There was other chances as well that Arsenal had, but they just couldn't find a way to score. And it looked like it was going to be 1-1. It was going to be a classic story of the season, really. Another Premier League draw for Arsenal. But then Martin Odegaard, really nice goal. And I think he's had a good end to the season, Odegaard, which might do him good, because it's been a disappointing season by his standards, no doubt about it. He hasn't. There's been issues with him, whether it's been because of the players that he's used to playing with haven't been on the pitch enough time, so he hasn't been able to sort of strike up those connections. But his goals have been down, his assists have been down. We've all talked about it. It's been a constant debate following Arsenal this season. But I do think he's ended the season in good form, and hopefully, that stands him in good stead for next season. He'd go away in the summer. He's got a nice little feeling of some good performances later on when he scored some goals. Today was a classic Odegaard goal, the type of goal we've seen him score so many times for Arsenal a couple of seasons ago. Hopefully, as I said, that will stand him in good stead for what we've got to come next season, because we need Odegaard at his best next season. Absolutely, no doubt about that. And that was enough to get the win. I think that was the 89th minute, and it was 7 minutes of stoppage time. But Southampton never looked like they were going to come back into the game. It was nice at the end. Everyone walked over to the away fans. Big cheers for Jorginho. Didn't come on, Jorginho, but he got a really nice reception from the away fans, all singing his names. The players sort of pushed him over towards them to take their acclaim. Then Kieran Tierney got it as well for those two. We'll wait and see if this is. We know it's definitely there. Those two's last game in an Arsenal shirt. We'll wait and see what happens with Thomas Partey and potentially Zinchenko as well. We'll have to wait and see. But but that was it, done and dusted. I'm just looking at Kieran Tierney's down there now, actually, taking with his phone, taking a few maybe final pictures of himself in an Arsenal tracksuit down there before he heads off to Celtic in the summer. So that's the review of today's game. I'll be doing the sort of much more in-depth reaction show, obviously, as usual, tomorrow. So you want to get involved in that show in terms of what you saw today, what impressed you, what didn't, what was worrying signs, what was positive signs, anything like that. Let me know in the comments below. Bukayo Saka did pick up an injury very, very late on. He sort of stretched for a ball and his ankle sort of went. I couldn't work out if it was a muscle thing or if it was foot, because his legs sort of overstretched and it buckled a little bit. He went down, he got treatment, he did come back on, but he didn't look right. He was struggling. So again, we'll see what Mikel's got to say, but he's not going to say much now. But that might be something to keep an eye on, especially with the two England internationals coming up. Saka's obviously in the squad for those two England games coming up. Wouldn't surprise me if maybe they take a look at that after this, because he didn't look entirely comfortable in those last few minutes after he picked up that knock, Bukayo Saka. Right, let's go through some of my player ratings for the final time this season. You can disagree with them all as you tend to do, and never too popular, my player ratings, but here we go. Okay, so David Raya, like I said, did get the Golden Glove, didn't get the clean sheet that he wanted, but he did get the Golden Glove in the end, which I've just seen him presented with down there. So I gave David Raya a 6 out of 10. Made one good save in the second half that actually led, when he saved it, put your arm for a corner, but then they scored from that corner. But other than that, he didn't really have too much to do. I gave him 6 out of 10. I gave Ben White 7. As I said, I thought he started sluggishly, but really, really sort of grew into the game as the second half wore on. Set up the goal for Kieran Tierney as well, so I gave him 7 out of 10. Jakub Kiwior continued his solid recent form. I thought maybe was beaten for the goal from the corner, but it was a very good header from Ross Stewart, to be fair. But I still gave Kiwior a 7 out of 10. I think he's enjoyed a really strong end to the season. Tierney, I gave my man of the match. I gave him 8 out of 10. He was really good down the left-hand side. He put in some great deliveries that Marino didn't get any end of that first half. That you were crying out for a proper striker to be on the end. Hopefully we will see one next season. And we won't see Mikel Merino playing as a striker, as well as he has done. Also set up a good chance for Martinelli with a lovely ball over the top in the first half, Tierney, and then popped up with the goal as well. Replaced in the second half, but I gave him 8 out of 10. He's my man of the match, Kieran Tierney. I gave Zinchenko 7 out of 10. I thought he was quite lively, put in some good crosses. Had one shot that was blocked in the second half, looked like it was going in, but it was a really good block by a Southampton defender. Also put a shot wide in the first half, so I gave him a 7 out of 10. Partey, I gave a 6 out of 10. Ended up at centre back in the second half, kept things ticking over as always. Solid enough performance from Thomas Partey. Declan, I gave a 7 out of 10. Not his best in terms of what we've seen from him this season, in the last few months of this season anyway, when he's been absolutely unbelievable. But I still thought he had a good game, and very close to scoring as well when Ramsdale made that save. So I gave him a 7 out of 10. Ethan Wanera gave a 6 out of 10. He was always on the fringes of things, Ethan, in the game. He had one shot in the second half that Ramsdale sort of spilled, but other than that, it wasn't bad or anything, but he was just always on the fringes of things. So I gave Ethan a 6 out of 10. Raheem Sterling, I gave 4 out of 10. He had one shot that was wide in the first half, but other than that, I mean, there's not really much more to say when it comes to Raheem Sterling in an Arsenal shirt. Just doesn't look like he's got it anymore, unfortunately, to be able to perform at this level. Gave him 4 out of 10. The Arsenal fans were singing if Sterling scores, we're on the pitch during the game. But they didn't have to come on the pitch because he didn't score. So 4 out of 10 for Raheem Sterling. Mikel Merino, I gave a 6 out of 10. Hit the bar of a header in the first half. Had another one that went just over. And Martinelli, I gave a 6 out of 10. Should have scored in the first half when he went through one-on-one. Ramsdale made a good save. But was lively. I thought Martinelli put in some good deliveries as well from the left-hand side. Moved over quite a bit on the right-hand side as well, actually. So I thought he had an okay game, Martinelli. 6 out of 10 for me, replaced by Havertz in the second half. The subs who came on were Saka, Trossard, Lewis Skelly, Havertz and Odegaard. Obviously Odegaard, the sort of star of those substitutes, scoring the winner right late on. Really nice finish from him. I thought Saka was dangerous as soon as he came on. Obviously he set up a chance to Zinchenko that was blocked, had the header that was ruled out. Fingers crossed the injuries, nothing too much to be worried about. But the other subs, sort of Lewis Skelly, Havertz and Trossard, kind of got themselves involved, but no real impact on the game. And that's it for my final player ratings of the season. That's it from me in terms of match reporting for the season. It's finished here. Southampton 1, Arsenal 2. The Premier League season has finished. Arsenal finished in 10 points behind champions Liverpool. Second place again for the third time in a row in the Premier League. It's been a bit of a grind, it has to say, going up and down the country following this team this season in the league. But second in the league, second in the Premier League, it's not the worst thing. It's not what we all wanted at the start of the season, let's face it. But it's not the worst. Second best team in the country. Go again next season, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.